Gemini, what is going on with you? Come on in, have a seat, make yourself comfortable. My name is Alan Hill from UnknownTruthTarot.com. Welcome back to another Gemini love reading. Today we're going to take a look at the status of the love connection between you and your romantic person of interest. So let's get one card for what's the mutual point of interest between Gemini and your romantic person of interest. Okay. What's going on with you, Gemini? It's been a minute. Wasn't feeling too well for a few months, but I'm back. I'm just trying not to overdo it like I normally do. I usually push myself like 12 hours a day, and I'm trying to not do that this time so I don't make it worse again. What's going on with your person, Gemini? What's going on with Gemini's romantic person of interest as it relates to Gemini and the connection between them? Okay. What do we got here? Come on. Right. Let's see what we have. On the bottom of the deck, the overall energy of this reading is the moon. This is Pisces energy. The moon, this is fear, worry, and anxiety. It's usually from uncertainty. In other words, like when the moon's out, it's dark outside and you can't really see the full path in front of you. It's hard to tell, is this the right path? Was this even the right path for me to begin with? Did I make a wrong turn? Do I need to turn around and go back? What should I do? Just that level of uncertainty can cause fear, worry, and anxiety in someone. The other thing the moon can represent is when it's dark outside, you can't see your hand in front of your face sometimes. So it can represent that something is hidden in the dark, something is being kept from you, there's something going on that you don't know about. It can represent a secret being kept. So it can represent any of those things. This will narrow itself down as we go along here. Below the surface of that is the Two of Wands. This is Aries energy. This is a fork in the road. It's a crossroads. It's a decision point in your life. It's probably a decision point in this relationship. And it's a decision about what is it that I want my world to be like, and which of these two paths in front of me is going to get me to that. But you can't turn left and right at the same time. So it's not just about which path do I go down. It's also about which path do I leave behind. So I don't know if we have some uncertainty about the choice about what you want, or uncertainty about the choice of which path you're going to take, or which path you're going to leave behind, or something hidden about one of those two things. But then below the surface of that Two of Wands, we get the Three of Wands. So things are escalating here. So this is starting to look a little bit more like I've already chosen the path, and now I've got some uncertainty related to the path that I chose. This Three of Wands is also Aries energy. It's the next step after that decision point there. Which path do I go down? In this energy, you've already decided what it is that you want. You've already started taking steps down that path, and you expect it, like you have this positive expectancy that the path I've chosen is going to get me to what I want. And the actions that I'm taking are going to get me to what I want. They just haven't materialized yet. The thing that I want hasn't actually happened yet. So this is an energy of kind of like waiting on that to occur. So that's the gist of what it looks like this is going to talk to me about. We'll come back to that more if we need to. This mutual point of interest is shared energy that affects both of you in some way. It doesn't always affect you both the same way. Sometimes they will do this and you'll feel the consequences of it, or vice versa. Sometimes they'll say or do something and it makes you start to feel or act this way, or vice versa. Sometimes it's legitimately something external that's affecting you both. But that mutual point of interest is the Page of Cups. Pages are messengers, and cups are about love and emotions. So this is news and messages and communications about love and emotions. This can be lovey-dovey messages. This can be expressing feelings. This can be the early stages of some sort of a love thing where we're just now starting to communicate about that and expressing feelings. Let's take a look and see what this is trying to tell you here. Let's clarify that. Tell me more about the Page of Cups. Why is that the mutual point of interest here? Whoa, time out, buddy. Trying to give me a whole bunch all at once. Make sure nothing else is flipped over here. Okay. Below the surface of this Page of Cups, Nine of Swords. This is Gemini energy of fear, worry, and anxiety. There's two cards in the tarot that represent fear, worry, and anxiety, and I have both of them looking at me right now already, and we're just getting started. The moon is about fear, worry, and anxiety, usually from uncertainty about something. This is fear, worry, and anxiety and thinking about something over and over and over again on this like repeating loop in your mind where I can't really control my thoughts right now. And it's about thinking about it, not just over and over, but the way you're thinking about it with all this fear and worry behind your thoughts. And that can start to manifest itself physically as stress in the body, sleepless nights, can't concentrate on what I'm doing, can't stay asleep, can't fall asleep, can't eat. It's usually mental anguish. And if you notice, the person on the card has their eyes covered with their hands because the way they're thinking about something in their mind is so bad that they don't want to face it. So something pretty serious feels like it's happening here. Below the surface of that, we've got the Hermit. This is the Virgo Major Arcana card. This is a card of withdrawal and isolation. It's a card of doing soul searching, deep inner reflection, deep contemplation. It's about looking down in the shadows of yourself and trying to figure out what adjustments do I need to make about me so that I can move forward the way that I want to. The thing about the Hermit energy is this is typically not a voluntary thing. It's like we don't just wake up and go, oh, it's nice outside today, I think I'm going to do some soul searching. It doesn't work that way. Something usually happens and it forces us into soul searching here. So there's something, if not actually going on, that's pretty bad. It's like the way that someone's thinking about it is pretty bad. And because this is the shared energy affecting you both, I don't know yet if that's you or if that's them. Now, below the surface of that Hermit energy, I've got the Three of Wands again, which is 3 cards deep in the overall energy. And now here it is 3 cards deep below the surface of the shared energy. Again, Aries energy. This is that energy of waiting. I've already decided what I want. I've already started taking actions to get what I want, and I expect that what I want's going to happen. It just hasn't happened yet. I don't know if this is maybe like I've already chosen the path and I'm expecting something to happen and it's not happening. And if it is happening, I can't see it. And now I'm uncertain about it. And now maybe that's going from just uncertainty into like mental panic here. When I clarify this Page of Cups, I get Death, the Hanged Man, the Emperor, the Five of Cups, and the Queen of Cups. Normally I get 3 clarifiers and I just got 5. So this is probably something pretty big happening here. Death is the Scorpio Major Arcana card. This is an ending. This is something dying and some painful transition period or some painful transformation taking place after that. This is kind of one of those things where it's like if you think about a caterpillar, it's like an ugly little worm with hair on it and it goes into a cocoon. And when it comes out of the cocoon, it's not a caterpillar anymore. It's a beautiful butterfly. And it comes out of that cocoon better than it was when it went in. It's just that process that happens in the cocoon. It's not a party. It's not fun and games. It's literally dying and metamorphosizing and transforming into something entirely different. And when it comes out, the caterpillar aspect is no more and it's something different here. So this might be one of those cases where whatever's happening, you come out the other side better for it. It's just going to be a rough process is what it's looking like. I get the Hanged Man next. This is Pisces energy. This is progress being halted. No forward movement is happening. Things are stuck, full stop, dead standstill. Now the Hanged Man hangs upside down because he's trying to look at things from a different point of view than he normally would, a different perspective than he normally would. And he's trying to figure out what has me stuck and what out here needs adjustments made to it so that I can get unstuck and move forward. It's very similar energy to the Hermit that we have here below the surface. The key difference between these 2 cards is where the focus is placed. And in the Hermit, like I said, it's about looking down inside yourself for what adjustments do I make about me so I can move forward the way I want. And with the Hanged Man, he's looking at things from a different perspective, and things are external to us. So this is not looking inside me. This is looking out here for what out here has me stuck. What out here can I blame this on? What out here do I need to change so I can move forward? So sometimes this will represent someone who's not really accepting their role or their responsibility in the situation. Sometimes this can be someone playing the helpless victim or playing the blame game. Like, this isn't my fault that this died. Maybe it's not my fault that there was these communications that maybe you didn't know about. This is somebody else's fault here. At the minimum, this is representing something has died and there is no progress being happening here. Next, in the center of all this, we've got the Emperor. This is the Aries Major Arcana card. This is a card of control. It's about taking control, taking charge of a situation. This is the person who puts together a plan to get what they want, and then they execute the plan to get what they want. Very domineering kind of an energy, take charge kind of an energy. This is one of those cards where, like, flip a coin on whether this is good or bad, because, you know, in the positive sense, this is not someone who sits around on their butt waiting for life to happen, waiting for somebody to just, you know, get up and do everything for me and hand it to me. This is a go-getter kind of an energy, like the kind of a person that's going to go do what's necessary to get what they want. On the negative side, this can be someone who starts to border from, you know, like being in control and kind of cross that line over into being controlling. This is usually the person who's running the show, who's calling the shots, who's making the rules, who's setting the boundaries. This is the person who's really in charge. Next, I've got this Five of Cups. This is Scorpio energy of sadness and remorse about the past. It's about the person's looking at these three cups that have been spilled, and that represents all the love and emotions that have been spilled and wasted, all the time, effort, and energy that's been spilled and wasted. Now, if you notice, though, there are two upright cups in the background. Those cups are still full, and that can represent that even though I've lost something important to me, there's still stuff that I could be happy about if I chose to focus on that. And I already mentioned between, you know, the Hermit and the Hanged Man, the difference is in the focus. This one's focused internal, this one's focused externally. This person is focused on the past. They've focused on this thing that they've lost, this thing that they don't have anymore. And that's the thing about your focus. It will literally dictate to you what emotions you experience. So if you focus on the past, you're going to feel what you felt in the past. If you focus on something that you've lost, you're going to feel that loss. And if you focus on something that you feel is missing from your life, you will feel that gap in your life. There are other things you could focus on that would make you feel differently, but like three cups weighs more than two. So it's just your focus is automatically going to just go to the bigger thing here. And it's going to require conscious decision, conscious effort on your part to shift what you're focusing on. And it's kind of like training a puppy dog at the beginning when you're trying to train it to go pee outside and not on the carpet. You can't just explain it to it and then expect everything is going to be fine. You're going to have to be vigilant. You're going to have to stay on top of it and pay attention to what it's doing. And when you see it sniffing around, you're going to have to go take it outside and show it where you want it to go. And of course, there's going to be times when it messes that up and you're going to have to correct it and take it back outside and say, no, I said out here. And your focus is kind of the same way. Most people don't consciously control their focus. They just like let it unconsciously do whatever it wants to do. And this is telling you that if you're noticing yourself shift off into these negative emotions and starting to feel negative ways, sadness, remorse, regrets, guilt, loss, depression, things like that, you have some control over that, some indirect control over it. You can't really control the actual emotions directly, but you can shift your focus to something different and kind of stay on top of it and train it. Like, no, I said focus on this, and like stay on top of it. So there's that element to it. It's sitting right next to the Emperor. So it is kind of instructing you to be sure that you are taking charge of where your focus goes, because you can't control your emotions directly, but you can indirectly. Next, we've got this Queen of Cups. This is Cancer energy. This is a person who has a lot of love and emotions that they want to give, but she's also the only character in the deck that has a lid on top of her cup. And she has that lid there as a way to protect her emotions from getting contaminated. She's been hurt before. She doesn't want to get hurt again, hence the lid. But what she really wants to do is take that lid off and pour her love into someone. She just kind of forced to be guarded and hesitant for some reason. That's the shared energy affecting you both. We will come back to that as I go through your energy, Gemini, because then I'll be able to see how that applies to you. I'll come back to it again as I go through your person's energy so I can see how it applies to them. For you, the first card is the most important. You get the World. Central to your energy is the Empress. And your final card is the Chariot. You got all three major arcana cards. This is powerful energy. We have free will. Every card in the tarot deck, all 78 of them, is an aspect of being human. The major arcana cards are stronger energy. We have a lot more ability to exercise our free will over these minor arcana cards like the Five of Cups than we do all of these major arcana cards. And I'm just now realizing there's the first three in the shared energy clarifiers are major arcana. All three of yours are, and the overall energy. So there's a lot of big shit happening is what this looks like. Doesn't mean you're at the mercy of it. This is just strong energy. The World is the final card of the major arcana. It represents completion of cycles. It represents the beginning of one cycle and at the same time starting back over at the beginning of a new cycle. So after you finish the World, you go right back to the beginning to the Fool and start over on something new. People don't always do it that way. Sometimes something will come to an end and then we'll want to go for another lap and start a new lap of the same old thing here. But that's looking like that might not be the best approach here because we've got something dead and something that isn't moving. And apparently someone who's either blocking it or setting the boundaries or is in control of whether this moves forward or not. And it looks like it's not. So let's clarify this World card for you and see what that's trying to say. What's going on with the World? Why is that here? That's the first card, please. Below the surface of the World, Knight of Swords. This is the fastest moving knight in the deck. This is rushing forward and taking this rapid, decisive action on something. This ain't the dude who reads the instruction manual first, though. A lot of times this is a person who's like very spur of the moment, very spontaneous, impulsive, reckless. This can be the kind of person who just rushes off and does something that they don't think through first. And by the time they think about it, it's too late because they've already taken the action. I've got Queen of Pentacles below the surface of that. This is Capricorn energy. This is usually wife type of an energy. It doesn't necessarily mean legally married wife, although it can be that. This can be fiance. This can be committed girlfriend. This would be usually like, from the male perspective, this would be the person that I'm trying to build my life around. So this could either be you. This could represent a literal wife. This... hard to tell at this point exactly what that is trying to indicate. So take this piece however it applies to you specifically. I'm not going to tell you to take it as it resonates or take it how it resonates or take what resonates and leave the rest. That's terrible advice that you hear from a lot of readers, because what that's literally saying to do is no, cherry pick whatever parts you want to hear and throw the rest of that shit out the window. If I say something that's like not what you want to hear, feel free to ignore that. That's not what this whole take it as it resonates means. What it means is you're an equal part to this reading as I am. I can explain what the cards mean and what this story is telling, but you have to figure out how it applies to your situation. So take it however it applies to your situation. If you're the wife to this person, take it that way. If you want to be the wife to this person and that's kind of how you envisioned it, take it that way. If this person already has a wife and they're just lovey-dovey communicating with you and things aren't moving until that connection dies, take it that way. So yeah, below the surface of this wife type energy, I've got the Two of Swords, Libra energy. Again, twos are choices or decisions, and this is a decision that needs to be made, only it hasn't been made for some reason. The person on the card is blindfolded, and they've got these two swords in their hand that they're trying to decide between, and they can't see what the hell they're doing, so they can't decide. It's like an indecision kind of an energy. But the smart thing to do would be like, if I'm blindfolded and I've got these two things to pick from and I can't can't see what I'm doing, I would lay one down and take the fucking blindfold off. But this person isn't doing that. So sometimes it can be a really stubborn energy. It can sometimes not just be I can't choose, but I'm unwilling to choose. I'm choosing not to decide. This is looking like somebody took a very abrupt, decisive action with wife type of an energy in the background, and now some decision has to happen and it's just not happening, and it keeps like this emperor keeps sticking out at me. So this is feeling like very rarely is the emperor the person I'm reading for, you in this case. Usually this is the person, the other person, or some external thing here, another person that's blocking something. When I clarify the world for you, I get the Four of Wands, Seven of Pentacles, Wheel of Fortune. Four of Wands is more Aries energy. Wow, this is crazy. I'm going back to the overall energy. Below the surface of the moon, we had the Two of Wands and the Three of Wands, and now we've got the Four of Wands. So things are escalating in this passion, desire end of things here. This is actually the story of manifesting. And I don't mean like the made up new age version of manifesting where you supposedly just sit on your couch and think happy thoughts and then briefcases of money magically materialize on your coffee table. That's not manifesting. Thinking about shit doesn't make shit actually happen in real life. Manifesting is a verb, which means it requires action. You have to get up off your ass and do stuff, which is why you make the choice about what you want. You go down the path, you take the actions to get what you want, and eventually the thing materializes. And that's what this stage of the manifesting process is. Fours are about stability. So this can be stability of the home, stability of the family, stability of the connection. The Four Wands represent 1111, which is the number of manifesting. This is usually the stage where the thing that I wanted actually appears in physical reality, and it's here and it's stable in reality, and I can celebrate its arrival. But we've got an ending of a cycle and the beginning of a new cycle. So this is starting to look like maybe this is a person that's already has a wife or already has another person and they can't decide, and maybe that's affecting you, and this might be waiting on that cycle to end, that cycle of stability of that end of things is kind of what it's looking like here, especially with this Seven of Pentacles next. This is Taurus energy. It's a period of time, usually for one of two reasons. It's either a period of time where I've already planted the seeds on something. And you think about if you go plant some apple seeds right now, you're not going to wake up tomorrow with apples. There's a big lag time from when you plant the seeds until when the thing grows and fully develops and blossoms and ripens, and then you can harvest it and get something out of it. So this can be that lag time where we've already done something here. It can also be a period of time where I've been waiting on something to fully develop, something to happen, like waiting on some element of stability with this person, waiting on this thing to show up that I want, which again is going back to this Three of Wands, waiting on it. It's not quite here yet. I did see that Three of Wands below the surface when I clarified the shared energy. Could be waiting on something to come to an end with a stable home life, family life, stable connection. Waiting on that to end so we can start anew, and it looks like the ending is being stopped and no progress is happening, and potentially because someone is blocking that. Final clarifier for the world is the Wheel of Fortune. I think I forgot to tell you the world is the 4 fixed signs of the zodiac. So is the Wheel of Fortune: Leo, Taurus, Aquarius, and Scorpio. This represents a change in luck and fortune. So if things are going great and this card comes out, that pretty good sign that things took a very dramatic left turn and wrapped around the telephone pole. This can represent that pivotal moment where everything changed. It all went to hell in a handbasket. It can also represent a repeating cycle of something happening again and again. Like I said at the beginning, world is supposed to be the ending of a cycle and then the beginning of the next cycle. But sometimes people just want to go for another lap. And that looks like we might have some element of that happening here too. Central for your energy is the Empress. She's the mother of the tarot deck. She's always pregnant. She's always giving birth to something. In a relationship reading, she represents the birth of something new. That's usually the birth of a new relationship. Sometimes she can represent the rebirth of a relationship. So let's take a look at the Empress. Tell me more about that, please. Why is that central energy? Okay, we're taking an explosion, it would appear. Below the surface of the Empress. Oh, man. Seven of Swords. Aquarius energy. This is lying, cheating, stealing, deception, sneaking around behind someone's back trying to get away with something that I shouldn't be trying to get away with. I'm not saying that's you doing that, although it is possible that you birthed a new connection behind someone's back. I don't really feel that. This is probably more some of your person's funky stuff showing up over here on your side of the table, because what they're doing is probably affecting you a lot here. Hence the need to control your focus and in order to like indirectly control the emotions you're experiencing here. Below the surface of this Seven of Swords is the Nine of Cups. This is Pisces energy. This is a singles energy. It's one step back from that 10 of Cups that we all dream about, that happily ever after, that happy fairy tale romance that we all want, where I'm pouring my love into this person with everything I have, and they're pouring their love back into me with every bit of as much intensity as I'm doing it. This is a step back from that. This is single energy. This is personal happiness, personal wish fulfillment. Sometimes that's a positive thing. That can mean self-love. That can mean I don't need another person to show up and make me feel whole because I already am whole. I don't need someone else to show up and make me happy because happiness comes from inside of me, not outside of me. That would be the positive sense of this card. And kind of like the Emperor, this is one of those flip a coin on whether it's good or bad. The negative side of the Nine of Cups is it can represent someone whose own personal happiness is more important than your happiness, more important than us. This is like that me, myself, and I, and then me some more kind of an energy. Like sometimes it can be smug and very self-centered kind of an energy, especially when it's tied to this Seven of Swords type of a thing here. Now, when I clarify the Empress, again, I got way more than normal. Instead of 3, I got 5. I get the Knight of Wands, Temperance, the Chariot, 6 of Cups, 4 of Cups. I'm going back below the surface because that made me see something here. The next card deep below that 9 of Cups, below the surface of that, is the Knight of Pentacles, which is the slowest moving knight in the deck. We already saw the fastest moving knight, that Knight of Swords. This is one foot in front of the other, very slow, monotonous, make me want to pull my hair out kind of an energy because I want something so bad. I wanted it like yesterday. And instead of that kind of a speed, I'm getting this slow drip. This is like watching molasses roll down, watching duck shit roll uphill. You know, this is very frustrating kind of an energy. And the reason it pulled me back to that is because this 6 of Cups that just came out, I'm getting ahead of myself, but that's your person's first card in their most important position, and their central energy is this Knight of Pentacles that I just saw here below the surface. So we got the other thing that the Knight of Pentacles can mean besides just slow, frustrating monotony is it can be someone who knows what they're supposed to do but doesn't do it for some reason. He's got the seed of abundance in his hands, but the fields in the background are completely barren because he hasn't gotten off his ass and planted the seed yet. He knows he has it. He's looking at it. He's holding it. He knows what he's supposed to do with it. He's just not doing it. Now, you could also take the inverse of that too, because what he also knows is that he's not just supposed to sit here on his ass, but that is exactly what he's doing. So it can represent a person who knows what they're not supposed to do, like lie, cheat, steal, sneak around, put myself first, and they're doing it anyway. That's probably how we get to the birth of something new. So again, back to that Queen of Pentacles, I didn't quite understand. I don't know if you're the wife or you're the committed girlfriend, or if you were viewing things going in that kind of a direction and maybe they've birthed a new relationship Or if it's the other way around. Either way, when I clarify the Empress, I got this Knight of Wands. This is the second fastest knight in the deck. This is rushing forward and taking this rapid, decisive action, this rapid, passionate action, I should say, on something I have a lot of passion and desire for. This, a lot of the times, will get called the player of the tarot deck, because it can be that person who comes rushing in all passionately, tells you everything you want to hear to get what they want, and then they rush off all passionately somewhere else running that same routine over there, and then they try to bebop back and forth playing two sides of the fence. At the minimum, this is usually a person who starts out really gung-ho and really motivated and even taking the right actions, but then they can't stay fully committed to what they said they wanted, and they change their mind suddenly. It's sitting right beside this stable home life, stable family life, stable connection. Really hard to have a stable home life if they're bebopping back and forth and can't keep their mind made up, especially if they're going between stable home life and this birth of something new that they've created. Next, I have Temperance, Sagittarius, Major Arcana energy. This is a card of patience. It can also be an energy of trying to blend two things together to create something new. It's like an alchemy type of an energy. It's supposed to be inner alchemy. It's supposed to be balancing my emotions out. I usually get this card when something is dramatically out of whack. And this is an indicator that something is out of whack and it needs to be rebalanced, recalibrated, adjusted. Every once in a while, this can also represent reconciliation. In tarot, water here between these cups, water represents love and emotions. And here the love has been separated into two different cups and she's recombining it back together. Again, if there's this idea of waiting for something to happen beside it. I've seen an energy of waiting several times, an energy of something being stuck, slowest moving knight twice, like waiting on something to pan out. This could be you waiting on reconciliation to happen. Could be waiting to blend together with this person. Could also be an indicator that something about this connection is off and needs recalibrated, which could be why you're feeling fear, worry, and anxiety two different ways, like I saw it. Again, if this is about reconciliation, it's not really supposed to be about recalibrating the connection itself. It's supposed to be about recalibrating your emotions. Like, I've seen your emotions not quite in the right spot, probably not feeling great about some things, and there's a need here for you to recalibrate something internally about yourself, and you might have it attached to something external, which might be why I'm getting the Hanged Man actually on the table, and meanwhile the Hermit, about looking inside yourself, was buried below the surface. Next, I get the Chariot. This is the Cancer Major Arcana card, fastest energy in the deck. I'm getting ahead of myself, but that is also your final card, so I've got it in your energy from both decks that I'm using. The Chariot is the fastest energy in the deck. It's very fast forward movement. It's about overcoming, it's about the will to overcome the obstacles and challenges and problems that are in your way. It's getting past all that stuff that's in your way through willpower and moving forward very quickly in success. But there's also an internal conflict present on the card. The driver of the Chariot doesn't have reins to control this thing. And you can see a black sphinx and a white sphinx. That represents the shadow side of you and the light side of you. And if both of those parts of you are not pulling in the same direction, this thing is no longer the fastest moving energy. It's every bit as stuck as the Hanged Man. Or worse yet, it can rip itself in half as it tries to move forward, because there's two different parts of it pulling in opposite directions here. So again, telling me that something needs recalibrated here internally for you. Otherwise, we're looking at some sort of a big change here, or a repeat of a cycle that you probably don't want to go through. This is looking like a spot where I want something really fast, and what I'm getting is this slow drip, and I'm waiting. And I don't want to see you go through a repeat of this waiting cycle. Next clarifier for the Empress is the Six of Cups. This is Scorpio energy of the past. It's thinking about the past, reminiscing about the past, the good old days, the way things used to be between the two of you. It can represent a deep emotional connection. It can represent that there's a lot of history between the two of you. But it can also represent something from the past coming back up again, something from the past happening again. And when I've got the Wheel of Fortune sitting, diagonally next to it, that's a pretty good sign that we're having a repeat of something. A repeat of trying to overcome obstacles, as in obstacles that have already happened previously, and here they are happening again. Next, I get the Four of Cups, Cancer energy. This is an energy of not being fully emotionally happy or content with what you have right in front of you. You can see the person is looking at these three cups, but that's not enough. They're not happy and content with that. And there's this other cup here hanging in the air, this other thing that I believe if I had that, then I would be happy. But I don't have that. It's bringing me back to this Five of Cups here, because they're looking at the three spilled cups. And there's the three cups in front. Those three spilled cups the Three of Cups represents being together, being united and celebrating. That's one meaning. The opposite meaning of that is it can also represent a third-party love triangle, because there are three cups of love in the picture. And here we've got three cups of love, but they're spilled. So I don't know yet if this is telling me that there's another person involved and that's what spilled everything. If that's the case, the two cups in the background would represent that there's another connection looming in the background. And this could also represent just the spillage of us being together here. And if this other connection here, we did see Nine of Cups, self-love. We do see the two cups remaining here being recalibrated. So that would be the connection with self and not necessarily the connection with this particular person. Now, in that same case, I'm not happy fully with us being together, and there's something missing that we don't have, and I'm kind of like waiting on that to just show up. Or this could also be a case of where there is another person involved and there are three of us in this two-person connection, and I can't get that bitch out of my head. It could be that. So again, take that part however it applies to you. Your final card is the Chariot. We already saw that, fastest energy in the deck, using your will to overcome the problems, the stuff that's in the way. But again, also an internal conflict is present where two different pieces of you are pulling in two different directions. There could be a piece of you that's freaking out right now because I'm not seeing what I need to see to be able to trust this. And there could be another piece of you that's still willing to go for another lap of waiting on it. And I think that might be the choice that you have in front of you right now. What do you want your life to be like? Do you want to continue waiting? Do you want to continue in this Eight of Swords energy, this grinding in circles on it and not being sure what's the safe move to make here, and feeling stuck and trapped and blocked because you don't know what to do and being forced to kind of stay in the mental loop? Do you want that, or do you want to be able to overcome and move forward? Let's take a look at this Chariot here. What is going on with the Chariot? Why is that the final card? Okay. All right. Now we're getting somewhere. Below the surface of that Chariot, 10 of Pentacles. Virgo energy, maximum stability, abundance, and prosperity. This is most people's goal in the physical world. This can represent the combining together of two people or two families and all their assets and resources, building a stable, abundant, prosperous life together. Combining lives together, building a life together. I get this card a lot for people when they're married, when they're engaged, when they live together, or when they're going down the path towards something like that. And it's below the surface of either what you're trying to overcome or why you're trying to overcome something that's in the way. Below the surface of that 10 of Pentacles, this is starting to look like you are with this person and bad shit has happened somewhere else. And it's probably not the first time they've birthed a new connection. Probably not the first time they've bebopped back and forth between you and someone else. And then here you are constantly trying to recalibrate the thing, trying to overcome the problems because of the history and the emotional depth of it. But then there's this still not happy, still can't get that out of my head, still waiting on things to correct course. But we just keep getting a repeat here. Because below the surface of this combined together life, I get 5 of Swords, Aquarius energy. 5s are conflict. This is like mentally and psychologically painful situation or event. It can be a betrayal, it can be a big fight, it can be using words like weapons, using words like swords to cut each other. This can represent a big fight that ends things. This can just represent a betrayal. This can represent that the person you're dealing with kind of has this mentality of winning at all costs. Like, no matter what, I'm going to get what I want, and it doesn't matter to me what happens to you. If you get hurt in the process of me getting what I want, that's your problem, because I'm getting what I want. Collateral damage is fine as long as I get what I want. This is looking like a betrayal to me. Yeah, Queen of Pentacles right behind it. There's that wife energy again, Capricorn energy. I've got 2 cards right here together that would indicate combined together life. So if this isn't actually legally married wife, it might be living together, very stable, committed, physical relationship. And in the middle of that is betrayal. And right behind it is that 2 of Swords again, that decision that needs made but isn't being made. Now this is one of those things where, forgive me, but I gotta say it, because if I don't say it, I'm sugarcoating the dog turd and then I'm not helping you. This is in your energy. So yes, this very well could be your person has birthed a new connection and they're deciding not to choose which one I want. Why would I choose when I can have you both? The other thing this could mean is you're sitting here steadily trying to overcome this, even though a cycle keeps repeating, even though something from the past keeps happening again, and I'm trying to overcome it, and I'm trying to recalibrate it, and I'm not happy, and I'm trying to overcome it, but they keep blocking it. It's dead, but the death is being stopped, and your emotions are not happy and stable because you're probably focused in the wrong spot, and you have all this love to give, but you don't feel safe taking your lid off the cup to be able to do that, because every time you do, you end up getting hurt. This could be talking to you about what is it you're not looking at? What is it that you're not willing to take the blindfold off and face? Because the real decision isn't really up to them. You have personal power. You have personal agency. You get to choose what you want your life to be like. And that might be something that you're not really seeing right now. Instead of choosing what you want your life to be like, you might be waiting and stuck in the loop. So again, like I said in the example the first time I saw that, it's time for you to lay one of these things down and take the fucking blinders off. When I clarify this Chariot, the will to overcome the problem, but also at the same time the internal conflict, I get the Devil, the 4 of Swords, and the 8 of Swords. The Devil is Capricorn's major arcana. This is a heavy toxic energy. This can be obsession. It can be an addiction. It can be a feeling of being trapped by something, feeling like I can't escape from something, feeling like I'm not the one in control. This other thing has control of me and there isn't a damn thing I can do about it. Which is kind of really hard to exercise your will and overcome the obstacle if you don't feel like you have control. And the Devil is one of those energies that really only has the control over us that we willingly give to it by refusing to face it and deal with it. I saw the Hermit buried below the surface. The Hermit is literally about having the courage to shine that light down into the shadows of yourself. And this represents shadow distorted energy. This can be a piece of yourself that you don't like, that you don't want other people to see, that you don't want to see yourself. Hence the blindfold. This 8 of Swords also has a blindfolded person on it. Notice that the people on the card are the same 2 people from the Lover's card. But here they've got chains around their neck. They're chained to that podium the Devil sits on. and they've grown horns and tails because they've been in this toxicity for so long. It's starting to distort who they are. It's starting to change pieces of who they are, starting to change them. This can represent a toxic, unhealthy attachment, an unhealthy attachment that I feel like I can't break away from. I can't control it, but I also can't break free from it. And that's not really true, because the chains around their necks are really just loops. They can just take the loop right off of their head and leave anytime they want to. But they don't realize that because their head's in the loop and they can't see it for what it is, or they're just choosing not to look down and take a real good hard look at it. This can also represent toxic elements of your person showing up over here, especially because it's sitting right beside this Knight of Wands, that flip-flopping back and forth kind of an energy. One minute I want it, the next minute I want something else. A toxic attachment to their own wand where they have not really the control to be able to keep this stuff contained here. That could also represent a piece of you where one minute you're done with this bullshit and I'm not going for another lap and I'm not going to try to overcome this and I'm not going to wait on it anymore. But then the history, the depth gets you. It could be any of that stuff. There's nothing that says it has to be one or the other. It might be both at the same time, and it's just different layers to the story. So take it how it applies for you. Next, we get Four of Swords. This is Aquarius energy. Excuse me. This is Libra energy. Fours are stability. Swords are about the mind and the thoughts. So this is stability of the mind, calming the mind down. Like, I see this card a lot when someone's already shown me the Nine of Swords or the Eight of Swords, and I've already seen the 9 on the bottom of the deck when I clarified this shared energy. I've got the 8 right here. Notice it's half of that energy. This is about, shh, calm down. You're thinking way too much about it. This is, especially when it's with the devil, that's like obsessiveness. The Eight of Swords is thinking about something over and over again on that repeating loop, and I can't stop thinking about it because I'm blindfolded. I can't see everything in front of me. I don't know what's the right move to make. I don't want to step in the wrong spot and make a mistake that I'll regret later, but I don't know what to do, and I'm stuck and trapped and blocked, hence the grinding on it. It's overthinking, and when I've got it in the same spot with the devil, that's obsessive overthinking. That's obsessively grinding on something, and in the middle of those two is that energy going, shh, calm down. You're thinking way too much. This is trying to figure out how to close the open loop because there's stuff that I don't see, I don't have the answers to, and I feel like I can't make the choice about what I want my life to be like because the choice isn't mine, it's up to them. And they're not moving forward here. Things are stuck. And it's dead, but something is blocking the death. Maybe I don't want to see that it's dead. Maybe I feel like I can't detach from this. Maybe I feel like I can still recalibrate it and overcome it if I just wait. But that's not what this is saying. This is like, I'm stuck in that loop here. I'm stuck in the loop of trying to overcome something that I'm not really the one in control of. Like, I'm not the one turning this wheel here. That's your energy. Let's take a look at your person's energy and see what else we can find out for you here. The first card for them is the most important, Six of Cups. Central for them, Knight of Pentacles. Final card, Ace of Wands. Six of Cups, we already saw this on your side of the table. Scorpio energy of the past. Thinking about the past, reminiscing, something from the past coming back up again or happening again. Even it can represent sometimes a person from the past here. Tell me about this Six of Cups, please. Why is that here? Below the surface of that Six of Cups, Nine of Cups, Pisces energy. We already saw this. This is personal happiness, personal wish fulfillment, single energy, emotionally single, a step back from the Ten of Cups. It's impossible to have the Ten of Cups if I love you and I'm pouring everything I have into you, but you ain't giving me shit back, right? You're not pouring back the same way that I am. And that's kind of what this is about. This is me, myself, and I, me some more. It's all about me and what I want. And what I want is more important than what you want. What I want personally is more important than us. Very smug, self-centered feel to this one. Yeah, right behind it, Seven of Swords. We saw those two cards, and now they've flipped positions. Now instead of being behind the Seven of Swords, it's in front of it. So they're the past be damned. Either this is I don't give a shit about the history between us, because what I really care about is myself, and I'm sneaking around and doing stuff I'm not supposed to be. Or this Six of Cups can represent someone from their past has come back, someone that they have all of their happiness attached to, and I'm sneaking around. Either way, the outcome is the same. I'm doing shit I'm not supposed to be doing behind your back. When I clarify Six of Cups, I get King of Cups, Five of Swords, Nine of Pentacles. King of Cups, Scorpio energy. We got the Queen of Cups out here in the shared energy. Those are counterparts. These are the two people who work together to build the Ten of Cups. But notice, we haven't seen head or tail of the Ten of Cups. We've seen the Nine of Cups a couple times. There's a lot of distance between these two people here. This one's buried at the end of the shared energy. We got all of this shit between the two of you before we even get here. This, a lot of times in this kind of a scenario, will be the person that you have all the love and emotions for. And the King of Cups is very in touch with their emotions. They're very calm, though. Notice he doesn't have an expression on his face. The water around his feet represents rough, choppy emotions. It can be emotional turmoil. This can be the kind of person who loves you, but you don't really know if they love you because they don't express it. The King of Cups doesn't wear his heart on his sleeve. He doesn't publicly broadcast how he feels about things, good or bad. So they could love you and you not know. They could be going through emotional turmoil and you also not know. And there could be even a history of that, a history of you loving them, but not quite being sure if they love you back or not. Or at least if they love you back the same way that you love them. Really hard person for you to read. Really hard for you to know how they feel. Also, I get this card a lot when someone is giving the other person undue credit. Like I'm giving them all of this credit for how I want them to be, the potential that I see in them, instead of looking at the behavior that they're showing me. And what they're showing you is something happening again. What they're showing you is there's stuff you don't see, that you don't know about. Could be some secrets that they're hiding from you. What they're showing you is a repeat of waiting, or back and forth between you and someone else, birthing something new, sneaking around, putting themselves ahead of you. It's sitting directly across the aisle from the devil, which could represent a toxic attachment that you have toward the way that you feel about them, or the credit that you're giving them, or putting the potential that you see in them ahead of the reality of the behavior that they're showing you. That's the key thing. It's not about the attachment you have in your mind or the fantasy future that you want to happen, that the construct that you've made in your mind. It's about what behavior are they showing you, and why are you not looking at that? Why are you staying bound in that? That's the real question. The real question isn't about whether Billy's going to come back or not. The real question is about what's your pattern in this? Because see, we got that Hanged Man out here. That indicates that they're probably the helpless victim and playing the blame game, and it's never their fault that they do this shit. It's always somehow your fault, or it's the situation's fault, or it's my mommy's fault because she didn't treat me right when I was growing up. It's always something that's not them. But this also applies to you here. So there's a reason why you're stuck, and the real question should not be about them. The real question should be questions you're asking about you. What is it about you that gets attracted to emotionally unavailable people? What is it about you that feels like I can't control this? Like what am I not facing about this? And what it looks like on the surface for me is that there's elements of their behavior that you're not looking at because you're too preoccupied with looking at the future you've created in your head that hasn't arrived still. Next, I get, five of wands. This is Leo energy. Again, fives are conflict. Wands are passion, desire. So this is a conflict in desires. In other words, a piece of them wants one thing and another piece of them wants pretty much the opposite of that. And they're torn and conflicted and they're pulling themselves in different directions, playing tug of war with themselves in terms of what they want. Very possible that they do actually have love and emotions for you, and very possible that the history between the two of you is important on some level to them, but they're conflicted between that and this idea of being able to do whatever I want, whatever makes me happy. And it's really hard to be in a solid relationship when a person loves you, but they love themselves a hell of a lot more. And when they sneak around and do dirty shit they're not supposed to do. Final clarifier for Six of Cups is Nine of Pentacles, Virgo energy. This is the other singles energy in the deck. There's two of them, and I've got them both right here. Nine of Cups, Nine of Pentacles. Emotionally single with the Nine of Cups, physically single with the Nine of Pentacles. Again, this is a step back from that Ten of Pentacles, the combined together life. That was below the surface when I'm on your side. It's not actually out here on the table. So that tells me we probably don't have the physical combined togetherness, because this person is either physically single, but I also get this card a lot when someone's not actually physically single. They're just presenting themselves in the physical world as if they are single, which is a whole other type of conflict. Central to their energy, Knight of Pentacles. Again, slowest knight in the deck. We already saw this on your side. Very slow, monotonous, make you want to pull your hair out. Feels like nothing's moving. In this case, it's because nothing is moving. It's dead. It's at a dead stop. And they're the one that controls that and makes it that way. This can also represent a person who knows what they're supposed to do and they just don't do it. Or they know what they're not supposed to do, which is put myself first and sneak around and do shit I'm not supposed to do, but they do that anyway. Probably have a history of doing that anyway with the Six of Cups right beside it. I felt that same thing over here. Six of Cups, something from the past happening again. Wheel of Fortune, repeat of a cycle, and there's you waiting on it to change. Waiting on it to be recalibrated, waiting on that problem to be overcome. And it's just the endless loop of waiting and expecting them to be different than they are. What's that saying that Einstein said? The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, but each time expecting a different result to come from it. That isn't how the physical reality works. Tell me about this Knight of Pentacles, please. Why is that the central energy of their person? Below the surface of the Knight of Pentacles, Queen of Pentacles, Capricorn energy. There's that wife energy again, whether that's wife or fiance or girlfriend or person that I live with or that I'm trying to build a physical life with. Things are moving slow and they do things they're not supposed to do related to you. They don't do the things that they are supposed to do related to you. Below the surface of her, Five of Swords again. Betrayal. Winning at all costs. At its core, this is a mentally and psychologically painful situation or event related to Ten of Pentacles. We just got done seeing the Nine of Pentacles here. So there's some sort of a betrayal taking place in this idea of a combined together life between the two of you, and they know what they're supposed to do and don't, or know what they're not supposed to do and do anyway. Clarifying that, we get Two of Cups, Eight of Cups, Ten of Wands. Two of Cups is Cancer energy. We're seeing quite a bit of twos here. Twos are choices. This is either a choice about this connection between the two of you, Or for them, it's a choice between two different cups. It's probably why they have emotions here. And look, the King of Cups is looking at this connection, but he's also looking at the choice between two cups of love, hence the internal conflict that's tied to that. Next, I get the Eight of Cups. This is Pisces energy. This is about emotionally detaching or even physically detaching and walking away. A lot of times, this person's like walking away from 8 full cups of love because they believe there's something better out there. Sometimes this is a person who thinks the grass might be greener on the other side of the fence, and damn it, I got to go find out if it is. That's why I'm changing my mind and going in a whole different direction. That's why it's tied to the idea of birthing some other connection. That's why I keep seeing 7 of Swords below the surface and me, myself, and I below the surface. That's the next step from this, that 9 of Cups. Like that personal happiness is kind of like pulling them down the path here. Now, a lot of times this type of a person will go off to see if the grass is greener somewhere else. And when it's not, when it doesn't work out that way, and of course it doesn't work out that way because what side of the fence the grass is on is irrelevant. The grass is greener, not based on some fucking fence line. The grass is greener based on where you pour something of yourself into it, where you water it, where you nurture it. And I don't think that's what they're doing. They're walking away here. They're either detaching emotionally and they've become really distant, or this is physically walking away, even though they were conflicted about that. Now, I don't know if that conflict is an internal conflict about do I walk away or don't I? Or is this a conflict more about, well, is it greener over there or not? Will they let me come back if it doesn't work out the way I hope it does or not? But there's some sort of a conflict they got there. Final clarifier for that Knight of Pentacles, 10 of Wands, Sagittarius energy. This is a heavy burden that this person's carrying. It's something weighing them down and holding them back. Now, I realize that we're looking at you on this side of the table and we think we're looking at them on this side of the table. And I got to share something with you about how tarot actually works. Most people think, and rightfully so, because 99.9% of the tarot readers on YouTube use tarot as like a magic window that you can look through to see into the future, or it's like a magic window that I can look through to spy on Billy and see what he's thinking and what he's doing. And that's not what tarot is at all. You ever been at somebody's front door on a sunny day and you knock on their door and you're trying to look through the window, but you can't see through the window because all you can see is your own reflection because of the sun behind you? That's what tarot really is. We're not looking through a window at Billy here or whatever his name is nearly as much as what we're really doing is seeing a reflection of what's in your energy here. So even though, yes, for this person, they are carrying this heavy burden that's weighing them down and holding them back, but so are you. This burden is yours and it's attached to this person. Now, the 10 of Wands is not just a burden, it's a 10. And in tarot, 10s are completions. This is supposed to be the spot where you lay this burden down and move forward without it. The question is that what you're going to do? In order to do that, it requires you to take the blinders off and stop looking at just the potential, stop looking at just the history, stop looking at just the way that you feel. See, like, again, it's like the reality of this is it's spilled. It's not there. And behind you, there's this connection. And I think that might be a piece of what you don't see. And I think that also might be a pretty good piece of why you have to keep a lid on your cup here. This isn't, in order to lay this burden down and get away from it, you're going to have to become physically single. You're going to have to, this is like self-sufficient, I can take care of myself energy. I don't need you to show up and physically or financially take care of me. I got that. Final card for your person here, Ace of Wands. This is a new beginning in passion and desire, a passionate new beginning. This is also the phallic symbol of the tarot deck. It represents the male you-know-what and using it to do you-know-what and sexual energy, all that fun stuff. This is like the spark of some new thing in that area. The shared energy, Page of Cups. This is communications about lovey-dovey stuff. Central in your energy, birth of something new, player attached to that, devil attached to that. Seems pretty clear what this is about. What's this Ace of Wands trying to tell us here? Below the surface of that Ace of Wands, Seven of Swords. It does not get more clear than that. Lying, cheating, stealing, deception, sneaking around behind your back, trying to get away with something. Started a passionate new beginning. Queen of Swords. There you are finally. In the background behind that. Queen of Swords is she who knows the truth. The reason she holds her hand out like that is because she's fair. She's offering to let the person tell their side of the story. Go ahead, speak your truth to me. But the reason she's got the sword is because she already fucking knows the truth. And when you tell her something that doesn't match the truth she already knows, it's off with your head. She's the off with your head. I don't take your bullshit. You're not going to lie to me, queen. Notice her head is above the clouds. The clouds represent confusion, things being clouded up. Her head's above that at this point. I want to clarify this Ace of Wands. The Sun, the Seven of Cups, and the Hermit. The Sun is the Leo Major Arcana card. This is the happiest card in the deck. It represents happiness, joy, bliss, harmony. Can't get a better card than that in a love reading when that's what it's talking about. The other meaning to the Sun is it's the card that comes immediately after the Moon in the sequence of the Major Arcana. The Moon is the overall energy. And like I said, when the Moon's out, it's dark outside. You can't see what's going on around you. Things are hidden in the dark. Secrets are being kept. The next step is the sun comes up, and guess what? It's not dark anymore. Now all that shit that was being hidden in the dark gets the light shined on it. It gets illuminated. It gets exposed, and I can see it for what it is. What I can see is they started a passionate new beginning. What I can see is they were lying and sneaking around. What I can see is there is another connection here. What I can see is whatever emotions they have, I'm not really aware of it because they don't share with me how they feel. Also, what I can see is this Seven of Cups, Scorpio energy of options and choices and confusion about the options and choices. There's a lot of different cups here. There's a lot of different options this person has, a lot of different things they could choose from, and they don't want to make a mistake and pick the wrong cup. The clouds of smoke can represent clouded judgment, confusion, clouded decision-making. Emotions clouded my judgment can represent intoxication clouded my judgment. I do have the devil over here. Could be some sort of an intoxication thing this person has. I have seen the Nine of Cups repeatedly, which can also represent being drunk or intoxicated. Overindulgence, self-indulgence, that kind of stuff. So they could have a problem. And that's being seen. But what this smoke is really feeling like here is somebody trying to blow a smoke screen, trying to cover up the fact that they have other options, trying to keep things clouded for you, keep you confused. Trying to blow the smoke screen around them using the wand, about the communications that are happening that probably shouldn't be, about the lying and deception. But here we are, like I said, your head's above that cloud now. You can see it for what it is. Now, son of a bitch, I didn't go deep enough. There's that Nine of Cups I was just talking about again. And below that is the Moon. Overall energy, fear, worry, anxiety from uncertainty, or something is being kept from you. Something's being hidden, some secrets being kept. And below the surface of that is that Nine of Swords again, more fear, worry, and anxiety. This really feels like this person already did stuff they know they're not supposed to, and what they're fearful and worried and anxious about is that the truth is coming out. They're worried and anxious that they're going to get exposed and their smoke screen isn't going to work, and you're going to see what they've done with the wand. That's what that looks like. And I think that's probably what's happening right now. If it hasn't already happened, it's probably happening right now. Final clarifier for your person is the Hermit, the Virgo Major Arcana card. This is, again, withdrawal, isolation. They're probably not talking to you right now. And if they are, communication's way different than it normally was. This is supposed to be them going inside themselves to do soul searching and deep inner reflection and deep contemplation and trying to figure out what adjustments do they make about themselves so they can move forward the right way. What can they do to lay this burden down of this whole acting single when I'm not, of all the options that they have, the confusion, the blowing smoke screens, the lying and sneaking around. What can I do? What do I need to fix about me? That's supposed to be what this means. Doubt that's what it's talking about, because they're playing the role of the emperor. They're playing the role of the hanged man, the helpless victim. It's not my fault this happened. This is your fault that this happened. Or it's that hot chick's fault. Had she not walked past me looking all good and shit, I wouldn't have done this. It's something else's fault. And that's why this dies. That's why we keep getting a repeat of the cycle. That's why we keep getting stuff from the past coming back up. In fact, the most important card for them is the stuff from the past coming back up, and the emotions that they're not willing to deal with. This is also, like I said, this whole thing is a mirror that's reflecting you back to yourself, much more than it's actually telling you, this isn't like some sort of a secret spy cam, like an espionage tool that you can use to spy on somebody, as much as it's going to reflect you back to yourself no matter what. And this is telling you to go inside and look at what is this that keeps you stuck in this? What is it that's got you with your head in the loop and feeling like you can't detach? Because that isn't reality for you. It's a false belief. And you can free yourself from it by looking at it, by facing it, by asking yourself better questions. Instead of making all of your questions about them and all of your questions about the situation, you're supposed to be shifting your focus and making the questions about you.